we are ready at this time to bring in that first class of polled Dorsets for our show. We will start with fall ram lambs. These are September, October, and November born fall ram lambs for the polled Dorsets. There are no yearling rams. So our first class is that fall ram lamb class. If you'll bring those to the ring, please.
Only two fall bucks here to get our polled Dorset show started. The buck we're going to start with is one that's really long about his design. He's really nice up through that front 1/3. Just really not a lot of fleece down this one's top. You have to appreciate that. The buck that's in second's not quite as far along in his maturity pattern, but you have to appreciate the stoutness of bone that this one's got. He really gets along the ring really nicely. One that I think with some time on feed and some maturity, I think that one can catch the buck that's ahead of him. A real nice pair.
Now ready in the ring for our winter ram lamb class. From our fall ram lamb class, our placings are first place, and also that'll be our open show senior champion ram. Entry 335, Scotch Lane Farm, 751, Daniel Liu of Cummington, Massachusetts, ram weighing 218. Second place and reserve senior champion for the open show goes to entry number 336. This is also first in the junior portion of the show, Cedar Lane 2118, Leo. Emma Cargill New Ipswich, New Hampshire. That ram weighing 187. Originating from southern England from the crossing of Merinos and the horn sheep of Wales, the Horn Dorset breed spread over the areas of Dorset, Somerset, and Devon, and most of Wales as well. These sheep were first imported into the U.S. in 1885. In 1948, at the North Carolina State University, a breeding mutation occurred that resulted in the development of the Polled Dorset breed. Polled Dorsets are today a very popular commercial breed in the farm flock states. They have also been used as a cross with fine wool used to produce crossbred females in the western states that breed out of season.
Real nice class of Dorset winter bucks here. The one we're going to start with, I think, does so quite handily. He's one that he's really stout at the ground. He's one that when you put your hands on him, there's more than enough muscle there. He's really smooth there in behind his shoulder. Really got a nice tail set about him. Just an extra attractive kind of a ram. A buck that's in second, certainly one that maybe doesn't require any fleece. He's super smooth. He's super massive. One that I'd like to give him just a little more oomph if we're going to catch the buck ahead of him. But you like this one, Silhouette. Maybe like to give him just a notch more bone for that ruggedness that he's got to match the class winner. The buck that we put in third here, this Slick buck, one that you really appreciate the way he is in the top side of his skeleton. You have to appreciate his bone work, one that's really just a really nice fault-free kind of a ram. And then we're going to round out the class with one of the bigger bucks in the class. For me, he shortens up ever so slightly. One that's not quite as good right there behind his shoulders as the bucks ahead of him, but a real nice set of bucks in this class. Congratulations.
Results of our class of winter Ram Lambs. First place in open and in the junior show goes to entry 340, a ram weighing 202 pounds, Scotch Lane Farm, 773, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second place to 339, a ram weighing 190 pounds, WD Dorset's 1203, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. Third place, second in a junior show, a ram weighing 168, to entry 338, Obsession Showstock 211, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. And fourth and third in the junior show to entry number 341, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now showing spring ram lambs. These are ram lambs born February 1st and later. Following this class, we will have pair of ram lambs.
Certainly apples and oranges when we get out here and compare these two. The buck that we're going to start with is one that I think when you put your hands on him, he's surprisingly good there and behind his shoulders. He's one that's really level down his top. You have to appreciate the extension this one's got through his front 1/3. Just a really nice growthy kind of a buck here to start the class. Definitely a different speed in this one here in second. Certainly like the depth of flank that this one's got. You like the amount of muscle he's got through and through. My problem is when we get in from his study, from his hip shape, or from his hip bones back, I'd like to level him out there in his dock. I'd like to change him ever so slightly about the way he handled his hock, but a really nice pair of bucks. You can flip those any way you want. Certainly that's the way I see them today.
We are now ready for pair of ram lambs. Pair ram lambs to the ring, please. Results from the spring ram lamb class. First place goes to entry 342, a ram weighing 162 pounds, Busy Corner Farm, 1239, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. Second place, first in the junior show, a ram weighing 144, entry 343, Scotch Lane Farm, 803, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Our next class will be for Open Show Junior Champion and Reserve Junior Champion Ram. Placing on the pair Ram Lamb class, first place to Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second place, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. Again, now ready to show for Open Show Junior Champion Ram and Reserve. Then we'll show for Open Show Overall Grand Champion Ram and Reserve.
Not a ton of numbers out here in our junior Pole Dorset buck drive, but when we bring these four back out here, they're all four bucks that are really nice, and their bone work, they're ones that you really have to appreciate the way they're put together. There's certainly one, I think, that comes to the top pretty quickly. When you put that one to the side, I think there's some differences amongst the other two that you've got to decide between. I think there's one that's just a notch better package, one that's put together just a little bit better than the other. Certainly that's what we've been going with all week, and that's what we're going to do today. So with that being said, I'll go out and show you the two I like.
Our Open Show Junior Champion was the first in the Winter Ram Lamb class. Entry 340, Scotch Lane Farm, 773, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. The Reserve Champion goes to our second place in that Winter Ram Lamb class. Entry 339, WD Dorset's 1203, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. Now showing for Open Show Grand Champion Ram. The winner of this award, or this class, will receive the Nathan Hale Family Award, an award given in memory of Nate Hale.
Real nice set of bucks as we pull these Port Dorset bucks back out here and start evaluating for our champion. Certainly there's some drastic differences as we get out here and start evaluating through them. I think the champion's pretty clear cut, but then when we get past that, you know, you've got the fall buck one that's certainly one that you have to appreciate the growth that one's got. He's one that's really long and level down his top. One for me, I'd like to change him ever so slightly about his bone structure and down through his pasterns ever so slightly. But one's certainly a really nice buck to look at from the side. And then we've got that second place winner buck, one that's certainly much more compact than our fall buck, one that's got muscle just through and through, really dead level down his top. You have to appreciate the way he is through his front 1/3, and then he carries that all the way back. Certainly one I'd like to maybe just stretch out just ever so slightly if I could be nitpicky. Certainly those are the differences I see. I'll show you the two that I think are deserving of your champion in reserve.
Grand Champion Ram goes to our junior champion. The junior champion was first in the Winter Ram Lamb class. Entry 340, Scotch Lane Farm, 773 Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. And that's also our junior show champion Ram. And reserve grand champion overall was our reserve junior champion. The reserve junior champion was second to that champion in the Winter Ram Lamb class. Entry 339, W.D. Dorset's 1203, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. We are now ready to show for our reserve junior show champion. So we'll need entry 338, Obsession Showstock 211 from Madeline Syme in the ring, please. And also 343, Scotch Lane Farm 803. And our reserve junior show champion Ram is entry 338 out of the Winter Ram Lamb class. Obsession Showstock 211, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now ready for Best Headed Ram. Best Headed Ram, please. Best headed ram goes to our champion ram from the Winter Ram Lamb class, entry 340, Scotch Lane Farm 773, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now ready to go into yearling ewes. Yearling ewes, please. Here's your first trivia question during the Pole Dorset show. At last year's Big E Pole Dorset show, what two exhibitors alternated winning every single class but one? Eric got that. So those two exhibitors, Rachel Gately, Pine Knob, and Madeline Syme, were the two exhibitors that won every class at last year's Big E in the Pole Dorsets except for one.
I certainly don't apologize for taking a little longer here. I think the top trio we've got are certainly sheep that have some differences but are extremely high quality. The ewe that we're going to start with, I think just for me, she just puts it in just a nickel neater of a package than the two ewes behind her. The sheep that we're going to start with, she's extremely big-footed. She's extremely attractive when you get off the side of her. When I put my hands on her, I question if for a yearling ewe, is she just far enough along for me? Probably close enough, but I would like to see that one have just a little bit more there when you put your hands on her back. But I think that one paints a picture that's extra special, really nice to get back off of. The ewe in second, certainly, she's the one that she's the pounds heavy. She's the one that's really wide across her back. She's really smooth down her top. She's one that you have to appreciate. This one, when they get her stopped, certainly when that one gets out on the go, she doesn't want to cooperate the best. A little harder for me to read. When I step off the side of that one, I just question just if she's just good enough there in the center portion of her body. I'd like to drop her down in that flank if I'm going to be nitpicky of one I think's extremely good and I think I could take home and do some good things with. The ewe in third, one that you really appreciate when you get off of her. She's really good up through her neck, really good there in the center portion of her body. My problems come in on this one when we get from her hip bones back. I'd like to change that one as we get there at her hip shape. I'd like to change that one just a little bit as she gets a little straighter whenever we get out on the move. The ewe that's in fourth, certainly maybe one of the big ewes in the class. One for me that I would like to change this one also. There at the right at her chest floor, I'd like to raise that one up, maybe give her just a little bit more of a unique look up front. And then when we get that one out in the go, she wants to pack those back legs up underneath of her, doesn't get out and travel quite as good as I would like. You are going to round out the class with is a fault-free kind of a female. For me, out here, she wants to shorten up from hooks to pins, wants to get a little bit shorter from flank to flank. I'd change those about them, but extremely tough class of Dorset yearling ewes. Congratulations.
Now showing pair of yearling ewes. Placings on the yearling ewe class for the Pole Dorsets. First and open first in the junior show goes to entry number 351, Scotch Lane Farm 708, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut, and that ewe weighed 248 pounds. Second place to entry 348, and that was also second in our junior show, Double Vision Dorsets 2116. A ewe weighing 245 pounds, Brooke and Emma Kyle of Honey Eye Falls, New York. Third place to 354, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut, and that ewe weighed 263. Fourth place goes to 353, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. Fifth place to 347, also Rachel Gately. Sixth place to 349, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. Seventh place to Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut, and that was third in the junior show. Eighth place to 350, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. And 9 and 4th in the junior show, Emma Kyle, New Ipswich, New Hampshire. Pardon me, Emma Cargill, New Ipswich, New Hampshire. Placing on the pair of yearling ewes, first place to Rachel Gately, Somers, Connecticut. Second place, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third place to Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. We're now ready for early fall ewe lambs. These animals born September 1 and on through the rest of that month. So September born ewe lambs, early fall ewe lambs. The last question I asked involved what two exhibitors dominated the show last year. Now we're going to go back just a little bit further in your memory bank and to 2012 here at the Big E and the Pole Dorset show. What two breeders then dominated every class but one at that Pole Dorset show in 2012, 20 years ago? 10 years ago, sorry. And we do have the chat open for those of you that are watching online, so you can send in an answer online if you'd like, or send them to Catherine's phone.
Real nice trio here in our September ewe lamb class. Certainly the one we're going to start with is one that's just got an advantage from just extra substance and style standpoint. This one's really good on her feet and legs. She's one that you really appreciate when this young lady gets this one stopped. She just paints an extra nice picture. She's really parallel in her underline. She's one that's really big in her pin shape. Just a really nice sheep. When we get into second, the ewe that you really have to appreciate, she wants to shorten up ever so slightly to the ewe that wins the class. I don't know if I was going to change this one. I'd like to maybe make her just a little stouter down at the ground, give that one just a notch more bone. Then we got a really nice one here in third. No Fault, kind of a sheep. She just runs out of gas compared to those two big ewes ahead of her. Just a really nice class, just an excellent trio of September ewe lambs. Congratulations.
Next class is Slick Shorn Fall Ewe Lambs. Results of the early fall ewe lamb class. First place went to entry number 365, Double Vision Dorset's 2202, and that was also the first place in the junior show. Brooke and Emma Kyle, Double Vision Dorset's Honey Eye Falls, New York. That ewe weighed 219. Second place in both the junior and open show to 364, Scotch Lane Farm 750. Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut, that ewe weighing 213. Third place in the open to 368, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts, that ewe weighing 176.
Real nice, slick fall ewe lamb here. One that you have to appreciate this one for her extension. Her bone work, one that really you have to like this ewe about her pasture, and she just goes straight into the ground. She's long and level. We're going to get nitpicky. Maybe we give that one just a little bit more muscle for a slick shorn sheep, but she's one that you have to appreciate her for her lines. Congratulations.
Our next class will be to show for our open show senior champion and reserve senior champion ewe. For the Slick Shorn Fall ewe lamb class, the results are: first place goes to 375, Busy Corner Farm 1273, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts, that ewe weighing 162 pounds. Well, we had several answers to it, but we finally got the right ones to that question. In 2012 at the Big E Pole Dorset Show, what two breeders dominated every single class except for one? And it was Midhofer Dorsets of Indiana and Southfield Corporation of Massachusetts.
certainly you have to appreciate all 5 of these females as we bring them back out here. And for me, when we get them out here, I think it sorts down to 2 pretty quick. I'm certainly no poker player. I think you can tell which 2 those are. For me, I think both these females are just extremely good, extremely high quality. There's not a whole lot of holes to pick in these females. With that being said, it makes my job extremely tough. I'd love to have the opportunity to have both of these at my house. With that being said, I don't think they're going to let me do that, but I'm going to go out and show you the ones that I prefer today. Let's put our hands together for these exhibitors.
For our open show, senior champion U goes to first place. Early fall U Lamb, 365. Double vision Dorset's 2202. Brooke and Emma Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. The reserve senior champion was first place Yearling U. Entry 351. Scotch Lane Farm, 708. Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now ready for late fall U Lambs. Now showing late fall ewe lambs. These are October and November born ewe lambs. Okay, at the 2007 Big E Pole Dorset show, which Buckeye resident was the judge?
Only 2 here in this late fall ewe lamb class. The one we're going to start with is one I think when you get this one out on the go, that's where she leaves her counterpart. She's extremely fluid in her motion. She's one that really holds her spine really straight. She's one that's just extra nice to look at. Just a real nice place to start. Taking nothing away from the ewe that's in second. One that's dead level down her top. She's really good on her feet and legs. One for me when we get this one in motion. She wants to get a little bit different about her rear wheels. Wants to kind of throw off the symmetry to that female. But a really nice pair. Congratulations.
Results from the late fall ewe lamb class for the Pole Dorsets. First place and open first in the junior show to 373 Scotch Lane Farm, 765 Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe weighing 172 pounds. Second place goes to 371 Pope Dorsets, 684 Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. That ewe weighing 173 pounds. Now showing winter ewe lambs. Winter ewe lambs, these animals born December 1 through January 31. Okay, so the answer to that last trivia question, Debbie Hopkins got that one right. It was Jeremy Etzler. He judged the 2007 Big E Pole Dorset show. Okay, just 5 years ago, whenever the Dorset Advantage sheep were being shown at the 2017 Big E, who exhibited that champion Dorset Advantage ewe? The answer to that question, that individual is ringside right now, actually holding a sheep.
Real logical class here as we get into our winter ewe lambs. The one we're going to start with, just certainly checks the most boxes for me. She's one that's put together extremely well. She's grown well up to this point. You really have to like that silhouette. The way she gets out and goes is what sorts first and second. Youth's in second, certainly one you really have to appreciate. When this young lady gets this one stopped, she's really dead level top. She's one that you really like the added bone that she's got. I'd like to maybe ever so slightly change her about her hip, and I'd like to level her out when she gets out on the go, but a really nice top pair. A really smooth made kind of a sheep here in third. When they get this one set up, she's really long about her front 1/3. She's dead level. She's good out her hip. She's one that just runs out of a little bit of gas compared to those two ahead of her, but one that you really have to appreciate the silhouette of that sheep. The one that we've got in fourth is one for me. Wants to get a little bit more, a little plainer about her front 1/3, maybe not quite as expressive as you get into her hip shape. Wants to get a little flatter muscled as you get down into that lower leg. And then a really nice one to round out our top five. One that's extremely good put together, maybe runs out of a little bit of added feature to the ewes ahead of it, but a real nice set of winter ewe lambs. Congratulations.
Now ready for spring ewe lambs. Spring ewe lambs, those animals born February 1st and later. Placing on the winter ewe lamb class, first place goes to 377 Pine Knob Farm, 2218 Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. That ewe weighing 202 pounds. Second place, first in the junior show, a ewe weighing 173, entry number 380, Double Vision Dorsets, 2252, Brooke and Emma Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. Third place, a ewe weighing 160, entry number 376, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. 4, second in the junior show, to 379 Scotch Lane Farm, 780 Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. 5th and 3rd in the junior show to lot entry number 382 Abigail Parks, Leyden, Massachusetts. Okay, that last question that we asked about the person showing that champion Dorset Advantage ewe in 2017, the individual that it was about actually answered the question. He finally woke up over there and gave me the right answer, and it's Austin Grace of New Hampshire. Final question. 20 years ago, 2002, what Indiana Dorset breeder had the Grand Champion Ram, Reserve Grand Champion ewe, and was the premier exhibitor and premier breeder? Sarah, were you showing those two? Yeah. It was Mithofer Dorset's.
real nice spring ewe lamb class as we get out here. As we get into it, you know, these top three, I think, come to the top for different reasons. The one we're going to start with, I think, just blends so well from her shoulder into her body cavity. One that she's just so smooth. One that the neck is just right outside the top of her shoulders. One that you just have to appreciate those things about. When you get back in behind that one, she's got as good a hip as anybody in class. Really like the added bone and feature that one's got. Just a really nice one to win with. The ewe that we've got in second, one for me, I really like this one off the side. I really like how she is down her top. One, I'd like to maybe make her just a notch better there, coming right out of her tailhead. And I'd like for this one to tie just a little bit higher right at the top side of her shoulder. Her neck wants to set down in her shoulder blades just a little bit and throw off that illusion just a little bit. A really nice one here in third. One that maybe not quite as big and as extended as the two ewes ahead of her. One that you really have to appreciate. This one's bone work. You really have to appreciate how she is out her hip. She's probably the squarest hip sheep we've got in class. Maybe I need to just stretch that one out just ever so slightly to run with those two bigger ewes up top. But one that I think just has too much good value about that one to move down any lower. And then we've got a ewe here in fourth. Same can be said. I'd like to take this one and lower or deepen her inner flank. I'd like to give that one more center body and correlation to the chest floor that she's got. If we can make that, change those things, I think that one moves up pretty quick. And then a really a nice one here in fifth. One that maybe not quite as big in the bone work category, but she's just dead level. She's one that's really good about her rib cage. One, not a ton of flaws, maybe just doesn't have some of those wowing factors that a few of the ewes ahead. And then we're going to round out the class with one of the taller, probably longer bodied sheep. There's just not quite as much muscle and dimension to that ewe as the ones ahead of her, but a real nice class of spring ewe lambs. Congratulations.
Next class is slick-shorn winter or spring ewe lambs. Placing on the class of spring ewe lambs, first place goes to lot number 389, a ewe weighing 185 pounds, Pine Knob Farm, 2229, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. Second, first in the junior show, a ewe weighing 174, is entry number 386, Scotch Lane Farm, 796, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third place, a ewe weighing 149 pounds, lot number 390, Ashley McFarland, Jordanville, New York. Fourth, second in the junior show, to entry number 385, Double Vision Dorset's 2257, Brooke and Emma Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. Fifth, third in the junior show, to Abigail Parks, Leyden, Massachusetts. Sixth place, to entry 384, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts.
really close pair up here in our top pair. The one we're going to start with, I think, certainly is one that when this young lady gets her to cooperate, she looks extremely nice from the side. She's one that's got an added amount of dimension from behind when you get in there to the crotch area. Certainly one that you like, that one's got a notch more muscle from behind than the ewe that's going to be in second. The ewe that's in second certainly has got a little bit added bells and whistles. She's got a nice swoop to an underline. She's one that's got a lot of bone about her. When we get in behind this one, I certainly need to give that one more rear, need to give that one more hip shape to be an ideal slick-shorn sheep for me. That one just lacks a little bit of muscle. The ewe that's in third, certainly one that you like. She's really nice about her top. She's one that's probably not quite as good there in her shoulder, one that's not quite as good at her chest floor, wants to get a little rounder as we roll off her hip there, but an extra nice one to be in third. And then the big back, the heavily muscled one is in fourth. One for me, I need to give this one just a little more bone, give her just a little bit of more show ring look to work up any higher. And then we're probably going to finish out the class with the most youthful one. She's certainly the longest next, really nice design. I just need to get more muscle through and through that one if we're going to work her up any higher, but a real nice set of slick-shorn Dorset ewe lambs.
Results of our slick-shorn winter or spring ewe lamb class. First place in open and in the junior show goes to 395 Scotch Lane Farm 806 Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe lamb weighing 107. Second place, a ewe lamb weighing 108. Entry 394 D.L. Grumbine and Sons, Annville, Pennsylvania, with D.L. Grumbine 484. Third place, second in the junior show, a ewe weighing 112, to entry number 392, Scotch Lane 769, Adam Jarris, Cummington, Massachusetts. 4, third in the junior, to 393, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. And 5, 4 in the junior show, to entry 396, Adam Jarris of Cummington, Massachusetts. Now showing pair of ewe lambs. Pair ewe lambs currently in the ring. placing on the pair of ewe lamb class for the Pole Dorset Show. First place goes to entry 407, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. Second place to 404, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third to 402, Emma and Brooke Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. Fourth place to 399, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. 5 to 405, Abigail Parks, Layton, Massachusetts. And sixth place to 403, Adam Jarris, Cummington, Massachusetts. Now ready to show for Open Show, Junior Champion and Reserve Junior Champion U.
Extremely high quality set of junior ewe lambs out here as we get them to pick our junior champion ewe. You know, certainly there's different types and kinds. There's two out here I think fit together extremely well. There's sheep that are certainly good when you get them out on the move. They're good feet and legs. They got, you know, an excellent body about them. Certainly are fitting of the breed type. With that being said, put your hands together and I'll go get the two I like.
Our junior champion for the Open Show goes first place out of the Winter Ewe Lamb class. Entry number 377, Pine Knob Farm, 2218, Rachel Gately, Summers, Connecticut. The reserve champion was entry number 380, second in that Winter Ewe Lamb class, Double Vision, Dorset's 2252, Brooke and Emma Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. Now ready to show for Open Show Grand and Reserve Grand Champion U. The exhibitor with the Grand Champion ewe will receive an award offered by Rachel Gately, Pine Knob Farm, Somers, Connecticut.
Certainly, as we bring these 4 females back out for the Pole Dorset Champion U Drive, you know, I've certainly been ecstatic with what I've had to pick from today. The sheep that we've got out here, I think, are extremely high quality. They all bring very good things to the breed. Certainly, animals that can move the breed forward. We could pick this thing however you wanted. There's certainly moments I could talk myself into using any of these 4 for champion. I've got my mind made up. I'll go out and show you.
Grand Champion ewe for the open show, and also our junior show champion ewe was our senior champion ewe. The senior champion ewe for the show was the first place early fall ewe lamb, 365 Double Vision Dorsets, 2202 Brooke and Emma Kyle, Honey Eye Falls, New York. The reserve Grand Champion ewe was our reserve senior champion ewe, first place yearling ewe, entry 351 Scotch Lane Farm, 708 Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now ready for best headed ewe. We're now showing best headed ewe. Best headed ewe is the class that's in the ring. We'll follow that with exhibitor's flock, breeder's flock, and get of sire. Then we'll go into our Dorset Advantage ewe lamb class. Best headed ewe goes to entry 377 out of the winter ewe lamb class. That was also our junior champion ewe, Pine Knob Farm, 2218, Rachel Gately, Somers, Connecticut. We now have exhibitor flock in the ring. Your next class will be breeder's flock. Now ready to show our class of breeder's flock. Exhibitors flock placings: first place to 412, Rachel Gately, Somers, Connecticut. Second place to 410, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third place to 411, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. Placing on the breeder's flock, first place goes to Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second, Daniel Liu, Cummington, Massachusetts. And now ready for Get of Sire. Placing on the Get of Sire class, first place, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Oh, we need to show Get of Sire, I'm sorry. Now we're placing on the Get of Sire class, first place to Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Now ready for Dorset Advantage U Lambs. Dorset Advantage U Lambs.
Real nice trio of Dorset Advantage ewe lambs here. The one we're going to start with is one that ties really high at her top of her shoulder. It's the one that you love, this one, for a front 1/3. She's really good at her shoulder blade. She's really good there at her rack shape. Maybe if I'm going to change that one ever so slightly, it's going to be in the loin, but that's a problem of the ewe that's in second as well. I just love the touch and handle of this female. The ewe that's in second certainly has got some added bells and whistles. She's got big feet. She's one that's certainly cool to look at from the side. For me, I'd like to change the way this one's neck ties in on her shoulder. I'd like to change the way this one is about her loin, maybe not quite as fresh as our class winner as well. The ewe that's in third, certainly one that's a really nice individual, one that's deep through the center portion of her body. She wants to get a little rounder about her hip compared to the two ewes ahead of her, but an extremely nice set of Dorset Advantages. Congratulations.
Results of our Dorset Advantage ewe lamb class. First place in that class, and also our Open Show Dorset Advantage champion ewe and our Junior Show Dorset Advantage ewe goes to entry 417, Smith D. 2201, Callie Taylor, Timblin, Pennsylvania, ewe weighing 124. Second place in the class, reserve champion in the Open Show Dorset Advantage ewes, and reserve champion Junior Show Dorset Advantage ewe goes to entry 30, Alex Hesse, Annville, Pennsylvania, with double E2129, a ewe weighing 126. Third place, a ewe weighing 128 pounds, Madeline Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut, entry 416. And at this time, we'd like to award our Premier Exhibitor and Premier Breeder Awards for the Poll Dorset Show. Both of those going to Madeline Syme of South Windsor, Connecticut. That does conclude our Dorset Show for this afternoon. We will be back in here at 7 o'clock with showmanship classes. But for those of you around the ring, we do have another activity here in the ring at 6 o'clock, a working dog demo with Becky Peterson. 6 o'clock.